Hey everybody, it's Drew. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to you. In this video, we're going to build the hobbyboss 148 scale FJ-4B Fury. This is a really cool kit. I built this in a series of videos and decided I would make a compilation video so you can watch it from start to finish and how to build this kit. But pretty well pleased of how it came out, so it looks really cool. So kick back, have a beverage, and hope you stick around to the end. Appreciate it. Take care. We'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we're going to get going on the cockpit. And I did do a full inbox review of this kit, so you can take a look at the plastic in detail, but it is pretty nice. It's pretty crisp plastic, no flash. Instructions are decent. And the decals look pretty good, but I had a few issues with those, and I can talk about those a little bit later in the video. But anyway, sit back and enjoy. I'm going to get these cockpit parts taken off the sprue, cleaned up, and get to building. So while I'm waiting for the cockpit assembly to cure, I'm going to do a couple sub-assemblies. This is the landing gear bay. This is going to attach to the lower wing, and I like to get those things out of the way. I'm also going to be assembling the jet intake, and because you'll see in a few minutes that basically the cockpit tub sits on top of the jet intake, and I'll get all that ready to go inside the fuselage. Okay, let me pause here and show you the cockpit. I picked out some switches and with some red marker and white marker and some gray just to give it some life. The instrument panel was a disappointment. It's hardly raised at all, and when I went to dry brush it, it became a mess. The whole thing became one giant streak of aluminum paint, and so I actually removed the paint and reprimed it, and I just took a white pencil and I just went in and try to get some things to pop, just like that. There's no decals either for the instrument, so at least when you look at it from a distance, it looks like there's something there. But otherwise, that's about what I could do. I did try a method where you take some white paint, really thin, and kind of put it on almost like a pen wash, but it just kind of ran everywhere because there's not a lot of raise. It's not raised enough to catch it. So anyway, so it's going to go in there like that, and I'll probably have the canopy closed because there's not a lot to see in this cockpit. And so, and I did this off camera too. I just added some harnesses for the seats, and all I literally do on that is I just take where'd it go? Find it here. Well, basically it's just Tamiya tape and aluminum foil and paint, and just glue it on there. So, not sure what happened to it. Okay, so what did we get accomplished? We got the cockpit parts all installed. The cockpit is done, painted, installed into the fuselage, and the fuselage halves are together. Also, this part here, this is the front landing gear bay. It goes inside there and all glues together. Still can't figure out the mystery part so far. What the hell that thing's for. Also, it had you in this part build the main landing gear bays that go in the wings. We'll get that on the next video, but I did assemble that. So here we are, and I got the clamps and the tape off, and I'm really happy with it. It was a really good fit. I just have to basically clean up the seams where the glue kind of smashed out, and there are few little gaps here, but in fact I think I can maybe squeeze that a little bit. Anyway, that's nothing that a little bit of water-based putty would take care of, and a little bit of sanding. Okay, so otherwise, if you can see down inside there, looks pretty good. Actually, the more I look at the white colored pencil and how it and the effect I got on it, I'm like pretty happy with that. You can really see the dials do that, pop out. So might actually use that method in the future. So I did make one mistake. So this part here, the intake, glues on to the bottom of the cockpit tub, and it all kind of fits as one piece in there. I did read some other builders on the internet, and as an aside, I haven't seen anybody build this kit on YouTube. So anyway, what I read is this part here could be a little bit of an issue. In fact, some people recommended just getting rid of these locator tabs, and then when you glue it in, position it correctly. I thought I had that correct, and I wasn't really paying much attention, but the front of the intake should be pretty much even with the very front of the nose. What I mean is, if you take a look there, it's not exactly flush, and when I put the nose piece on, you're gonna see some gaps in there. So I'm not going to rip this thing apart just to move that a couple millimeters. So the way I can handle this is, one, acknowledge I screwed it up and just forget about it. I know it's there, but people aren't going to be coming to my house and grabbing my models and looking down at the front of the nose. Or I could it's possible I can get some styrene card and just have to put a couple pieces together. It's pretty wide gap in there. I could get some styrene card, glue a few sheets together, cut it, and just wrap, put it around there. Another way is simply you can add put this on and then squeeze some putty in there, maybe even some Vallejo water-based putty, and basically just use the putty to make it flush. Sand it flush if I need to, or just simply use, if it's water-based, use some water to smooth it, to make it smooth where there isn't that gap inside. But if you have any ideas or what you think would be best, let me know in the comments. Okay, there we go. It's hard to see. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you would do. It's hard to see with the lack of light, but yeah, there's about, I don't know, maybe a 2 or 3 millimeter gap between between the air intake, and basically it should be pulled forward a little bit and sits flush right here. So yeah, let me know what you would do or what you advise. Again, I could just forget about it, but it's there, it's going to bother me. So anywho, so I'm really happy the way this is turning out so far. Everything went together well. It was nice and nice and tight, and I'm not going to have a whole lot of filling to do on the seams. Just sand them smooth and move on. So next part, step 3, we're going to be building the wings, and step 4, attaching of course the horizontal stabilizers, a tail, putting the exhaust in, and attaching the wing assembly. Okay, and yeah, so moving right along. I didn't need any filler. There are no gaps, so I'm just using just some sanding sticks to smooth out the seam lines and get ready for putting on the wing assembly. And here I'm just going to spray the upper side of the wing flaps, this insignia white, and both the main wings and also the horizontal stabilizers. The underside of this plane is entirely this insignia white color, including the landing gear. That's why I put the landing gear on. So I'm going to get these done, and once I'm ready for the main color on the top, I'll of course mask these up, mask that white sections off there. the leading edges of the wings are silver, so I masked it off and covered it in some plastic wrap just to keep any overspray off the model. And yeah, I think it actually ended up looking really cool. So in preparation for final assembly, I'm going to assemble the missiles. The kit gives you a choice of having some sidewinders or bullpup missiles, and I like these bullpup missiles. They're unique to this aircraft, so I'm just going to use just the bullpups on this kit. And as you'll see in a minute, I'm going to basically get these painted. Also going to paint a yellow stripe. But yeah, everything again goes together really well. All right, so that's the painting. I think I'm fairly done. I had a few little touch-up spots here and there, which always seems to happen. You get a little bleed over, or I set it down on something and it's not quite dry, especially in the front here. I'm not too worried about some of these areas because they're going to be covered in decals right here. So got a few little places I need to paint, but I often will do those last, like the wing tips, or the lights on the sides. I went ahead and put the wheels on just so I could have a nice stable platform instead of sitting on the struts. It is nice to know that I have enough weight, so it's not a tip over, tip back. And the leading edges, of course, they're painted in silver. Same thing here. I took all the masking off and realized I needed to paint. This part here was black, instead of leaving the mask on and just painting that black. So I had to brush paint it, which it's always a challenge for me. I'm not very good at keeping the brush straight, but I think from a distance it looks okay. And yeah, so next step is I'm going to give it a gloss coat. I'm going to put the decals on and then do all the little final things, and otherwise I think it's looking okay. It's hard to see some of the post shading, and you can, if you kind of look at it, the light hits it right, you can see some of the panels are a little bit faded. I don't go crazy on weathering, but otherwise it's not a bad looking model. Anywho, so next step, gloss coat, decals, and then do some weathering. And Okay, so I got all the decals on, and they weren't without some issues. They tended to tear, and actually this roundo here, it comes in 3 parts, and I actually shredded it to pieces, so I had to get a spare out, and it may be off a little bit according to the instructions because it's supposed to wrap around this dude, but trying to do that, it shredded it to pieces, and trying to move it around, so just got an aftermarket, or my aftermarket spares. And yeah, so there were issues with tearing, and I did have to do a little touch-ups here and there, but yeah, I think it looks okay. Okay guys, now I'm going to do an overall panel line wash, and what I have here is flurry washes. These are clay-based wash. I have light and black, and because this is a gray aircraft, I don't want it too stark, so I just mixed a little bit up here, and I'm gonna, for the underside anyway, I'm gonna make a little, lightish gray color here, and I'll probably darken it up a little bit more for the top, but I'll start with the bottom and see how this looks. And yeah, I'll just mix it up here, and all you do is just slather it on, and all right, coming down the last few things. So I'm using a little super glue here to install these missile hard points, and also install the landing gear doors, and this thing will just be about done. Oh, we can't forget the missiles too. Okay, guys, I did the last few things off camera, like put the little lights on the wingtips, put the pitot tube on, which is not going to last very long because hobbyboss made it where it basically just has a flat spot and you just stick it on. There's no way to insert it, so I might have to figure something out, but that's not going to stay on there very long. It'll get knocked off real easy, but there she is. I'm pretty pleased the way it turned out. I could definitely build this kit again, and knowing the things I do now, take care of some errors, and otherwise it's a pretty good kit. If you're considering buying it and building it, you may consider some aftermarket decals, but I think maybe these decals were been in storage for a while. I bought this kit used, and you know, you just don't know how it was stored, if it was in heat, that sort of thing. So it could have affected some of the decals that, like I said, they like to tear real easy. But overall, yeah, I think it's a pretty good kit. And I appreciate everybody watching. And if you like my videos, consider giving me a sub and a thumbs up and comments. It would be appreciated. But there she is, FJ-4B Fury. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.